Today's January the 2nd, 2019. Happy New Year, Joomla fans. Hello there, Joomla fans. Tim Davis here. I'm a Joomla fan too. And today on this Watch Me Work live stream, we're going to take a look at our businesses and our web pages and come up with some ideas and some goals together, collaborating to see how we can improve things and move forward to some new or some greater success in 2019. So I've really been excited and looking forward to this live stream. If you're watching live, then please say something in chat. And if you're watching on the replay, feel free to add your ideas and suggestions for your plans for 2019 in the comments below. And if you are watching the rerun here on the YouTube channel, then please, if you haven't subscribed, do so. Subscribe, ring that bell. You'll get notifications of new live streams and tutorials happening on the page, on the channel, and that helps other people find the content. So let's turn our attention over to the computer screen right now as we get going. We have a new prize, monthly giveaway here in January. We have I Love Old Time Radio. The prize is a one-year silver membership to get access to some other shows. And you might be wondering, hey, what's I Love Old Time Radio doing being a prize here in the Joomla giveaway? Well, you know, that's the site of our channel friends, Vinny Bear, and it's a Joomla site. And besides, it's fun to give stuff away. So if you have something you want to give away, contact me and we'll talk about getting things here on the channel. So head on over to basicjoomla.com/giveaways to get that. Now I have a bunch of things, some different areas that I thought that we would talk about today, and so what I will do is just start talking about that. And I'll tell you, but just because it's now been 14 months since I have been doing Joomla full-time, and that's a very different role for me from what I used to do. And so being self-employed and having my own business and doing Joomla things, I'm very much on the leading edge, the cusp of a lot of things that I need to learn. So what I will want to start out talking about really is the first area are distractions to diminish in 2019 in my web business. And what I mean by that is pretty much I want to look for things that are taking away time, eating up my time, creating distractions, using up my energy that are really not producing productivity and my goal for what I want to make for my hourly rate in my business. So here I'm in Canada. I charge $90 Canadian an hour. That's my goal to be making. And not only if I could do that just at 40 hours a week, that would be crazy. But it also fits in with the lifestyle that I want, because I have some other projects that don't pay. What would you describe? But my wife and I work with refugees and persecuted Christians, so that takes a lot of time as well. So I don't want to be grinding out lots of hours every week for a small amount. I'm looking to build up my clientele in my business so that I'm working less hours, but I'm working for a good rate. And for those of us that are working in Joomla or in programming or something digital like that, of course that's one of the more lucrative roles or businesses that we can be involved in. So distractions to diminish. And at this point, I'm going to switch over back to this view of this page here, because just towards the end of the year, I saw this video on my LinkedIn that someone shared. Judith McCartney shared with me, and it is a video. It's an excerpt of a video of Charlie Rose interviewing Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, and probably two of the richest men in the world, talking about time management. And really, it's the comment that comes up at the end that I am most interested in. But I thought I would play that for us now. We could watch it, and then that would lead into just explaining some of my rationale why I think some of these distractions to get rid of are really important. So let's do that. Let's go full screen here. I remember
Warren showing me his calendar.
And we'll pause that because it's muted. Oh, it's not. I don't have my speaker on yet. Uh-oh, that means that someone might have come into chat and I didn't hear it. Let me know if you're if you're here in the Zoom call. I'll paste that again. Join us on the Zoom call right there. Let's check out this video here.
I also remember Warren showing me his calendar, and
I love this.
I had every minute packed, and I thought that was the only way you could do things. And the fact that he is so careful about his
Can I
time.
show this to the audience? Yeah. Listen,
He has days
that there's nothing on.
on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Some
show.
of the best ones.
And
Well, this is October.
it's very
so
high
I'll
tech.
go
Be
back.
careful. You might not understand.
I'm going to hold. I'm not going to show the thing. But this is the week of April, of which there are only 3 entries for a week.
Yeah, there'll be 4 maybe by April.
File tax.
So
return.
that taught you what? Not to crowd yourself too much and give yourself time to read and think and.
Right, that you control your time, and that sitting and thinking may be a much higher priority than a normal CEO who, there's all this demand and you feel like you need to go and see all these people. It's not a proxy of your seriousness that you filled every minute in your schedule.
And people are going to want your time.
Yeah,
and it's the only thing you can't buy. I mean, I can buy anything I want, basically, but I can't buy time.
And so to have time is the most precious thing you can have.
I better be careful with it.
Yeah.
Man. There's no way I will be able to buy more time.
That really struck me when I watched that video. First of all, I mean, these guys are these are billionaires who have the luxury of being able to sit around, of course, and think. And of course, they're being productive in their thinking. But we, in the early stages in business, that we probably have to do a little bit more hustling. But I think thinking is important. But what really and having time to think, and their point about not scheduling every moment of time up with tasks is very important, because we do need to need to have our heads in the game as well. But Warren Buffett's comment about how he can buy anything he wants, but he can't buy time, so he has to be very careful with his time, and that really struck me when he said that, and I realized that I want to be more careful with my time in 2019. Definitely more careful with my time, and so I've been focusing and looking at some of the things that I spend my time on that are just not productive. They're not downtime things that are producing anything in my life the way that I would like them to be. And also they are not producing any income or growing or even potential to grow my business to increase my income. Because of course not everything that we do leads to immediate income, but it's building up towards something. But there's lots of time wasters that we have happen, that I have. So I've been reflecting on those. So one of the things that I want to comment on, or one of the things that I have focused on, let me just bring up my notes here. Okay, is and this is going to sound funny, but is to unfollow some of the people I'm friends with on Facebook. Now, by unfollowing, I'm not saying to unfriend them, because sometimes we can't unfriend people, especially if they're our relatives. They'll be hurt. They'll take it the wrong way. But we can unfollow them so that their posts do not show up on our Facebook feeds. And here's a rule. This is not the first time I've focused on this, and not the first time that I have tried that I have reorganized time in my life based in this way. If there are people whose posts appear on my Facebook page and they just kind of stir a reaction in me, like, oh my goodness, there they go again, or oh, that's so stupid, why would they post that? Or it's negative, or I think, oh, I should get involved in this debate. If I constantly have that reaction to certain people, that is something that I unfollow them. Because I have decided that I want Facebook, what I do on Facebook, to be a positive experience and bringing not only entertainment but something uplifting or edifying, something that builds up in my life. I don't want it to be a place where I go and get involved in drama. There's enough drama in the world, and there's enough terrible things happening to people in the world that we should be helping without us wasting our time being distracted by stupid stuff that doesn't matter. And really, when you think about it, nothing, very, very little gets solved in discussions on Facebook. If we really want to be agents of change, yes, there might be some information that we put out on Facebook to get people uplifted and engaged, but just raging about stuff does not make a difference. And so I realized that it's not only time, but it's a mental and emotional energy that that gets sapped from me by by some people. So one of the things that I am doing in 2019 is I am doing another review of people that I have showing up on my Facebook, and if there's not anything positive coming from them or uplifting, or if it's even just blasé, I'm going to unfollow those people, and so that's going to do two things. It's going to increase the percentage of helpful and good stuff that I get from Facebook, but it's also going to cut down on the time that I use reading that stuff, and also cut down on the time. Let me just move this camera here, but also going to cut down on the time that I get distracted and energy is taken out dealing with those things. So I'm going to unfollow some of my Facebook friends so that I have better, just to free up that energy and that time. Another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to deal with email bacon. Now, we all know what spam is. Spam is unwanted email, but bacon, BACN, is the term that's been coined for mail that we want to get but that we're going to read later on. So an example of bacon would be, say on my server, I get a report that says this process has been running for X number of minutes. It's important information in some cases, but for the most part, it's not something I need to see. It's something that started coming from my server, and I thought, well, someday I will fix things so that I don't get that mail. I'll turn that off. I'm going to adjust this camera just a little bit. We're not level like I'd like to be. But then I think, well, I'm going to have to go in and find out where that email is being generated from. I'm going to have to turn off that setting, or I'm going to have to set up a filter. And I've got so many things that I need to do. I'll do that later on. And then what happens is, for weeks and months, when I check my mail in the morning, all of a sudden, there's another one of those messages, and I think, oh yeah, I'll just delete it. So then I am spending my time deleting messages, bacon, that are set up, they're okay, but maybe I'm going to read them later, maybe not. I never get to them. It's just a waste of time and energy. So one of the things that, and I got this tip from Peter Van West, because I asked him, of Regular Labs, I asked Peter, I said, hey, what do you do with all you manage your emails? Because he gets lots of emails, and it's all to one address, info@regularlabs.com. And basically what he said was that he uses Gmail. All mails go to the same folder, like to the same Gmail account, but then he has filters and tags set up so that when mail comes in, he can see what they are, and it separates things, and it helps him to manage them. So I've been doing that same thing. I don't just use one address, but I have a bunch of addresses for different endeavors and roles that I have. But they all go to my one Gmail account, and they get tagged, and then I can click on those tags or those filters, and I see them based on subject, and that works out great. So I don't have tons of email accounts to set up in my email program and have them coming in from all over. But I can see them all there. But the one thing that's not working for me is I've got all this bacon that goes in there, and it's maybe just updates. So for instance, like I gave the example of things from a server, a message that a Joomla update is available, and that's turned on in one of my sites. Okay, there's a new version of Joomla out, but I also monitor that using myjoomla.com. So I don't need sites telling me there's an update because I'm already on top of that. So I go in and I turn those off. That cuts down on distraction and time dealing with emails. Also, another thing is that that you can do is maybe these are emails that you want to be getting, but you don't need to always pay attention to them, but you want to have them to refer to something if there is a problem or something comes up and you look back to do some troubleshooting. What you can do in Gmail is you can filter messages like that, like an email that comes up, and just move it to trash, which will sit there for 30 days, or you can archive it and you don't even see it in your inbox. So let's say that you get an email. One of the emails I get is from DMARC. It's from a setup for an email account. And basically, if you put in DMARC inside in the zone for your domain, other sites out there like Google or Yahoo, they will send a little report to your DMARC setup saying how many emails they got, and it's information that might be useful if I have problems at some point, but I don't need to see it every day because it's not really that important. So what you can do is anything that comes in Gmail, any email that comes with DMARC report or whatever the phrase is in the subject, you filter all messages like that, and when they come in, you just immediately delete them. Then you'll have 30 days worth. Or you can archive them. Then you'll have them forever. Now, depending on how much space that you've got on Gmail, then maybe you don't want to archive too many things. But the other thing too is that when you start to run out of space in Gmail, you could just simply delete all of those in one action. So bacon, email, you know what your bacon is, BACN. You know what emails you are getting that are a distraction for you and become an issue and are just eating up your time. Just take the time to deal with those, to filter them or to turn them off, or unsubscribe from companies that keep emailing you and you think, I like that company, but I'll be in touch with them later. Even filter those so they just get archived or deleted, and you will free up some time. And because you're not making any money deleting the same kind of emails over and over and over again. It can feel like you're doing work or stuff to do, but it's not doing anything for advancing your business, just deleting emails that you're not reading and have no intention of reading. All right, so that's the second thing. If you are just turned in, here we go. Go ahead and join in on Zoom if you want, or leave comments in the chat so that if you have ideas or comments on some of the things I'm talking about or in this area. All right, let's look at another thing here. I'm leaving my black glasses on here so I can see things. Okay, so one of the things that I'm using that I thought that I would use in trying to figure out if something is a distraction that I should diminish is asking the question, will this lead to my target hourly rate? Like I said earlier, I have to make so much money in a given month in order to keep the lights on and the stream on and have food and keep the heat going here at CyberSalt World Headquarters. And so I want to be efficient in raising that and maybe even surpassing it in order to expand to other goals. For instance, if I make more than what I basically need every month, I could maybe hire someone to deal with some smaller tasks that I don't want to do anymore. Or if now that in 2019 I have to start charging taxes because my business has grown to the point where the government wants me to start charging taxes. I would like to hire an accountant just to handle all that, or a bookkeeper. So I need to, for my business to grow, I need to be making money for that to happen. And so, as the example with the distractions of Facebook friends or bacon or other things, ask yourself, is this going to lead to making the time spent on this, making the amount of money that I need to? So an example of this would be Amazon.ca. I have joined Amazon's, just a sec here. There's Mary. Hello, Mary. I'm going to read your comment in a second. For example, in Amazon, I joined Amazon's affiliate program, which means that I can create links, and if people click on them and buy a product that I'm promoting through that, I will get a commission. And I would really like to be in that program. Now, I have been kicked out of it a couple of times. The reason being because you have to have 3 sales in the first 180 days, I believe it is. In the first 180 days. So 3 sales in 6 months, basically. Now you think, well, that's no problem. And it really isn't a problem, except it takes time for me to find products and promote them and put them as ads on my site or in my newsletter that I send out. But here's the deal. When I get 1 sale, the commission is like $2, maybe $3. That's a good one. The other day I ran an ad in one of my mailings, and from people clicking on it, I got 3 cents. So that's great. I would like to be in that program. I'd like to be able to share links with people, but then I have to ask myself, man, all this work that it takes me to apply or to reapply when I fall short, or to find the links and to format them, in the end, I'm only making a couple bucks. Now, if someday one of my sites or my lists really super took off and that became, I could get more traffic from things, then my income would go up from Amazon links based on the traffic. Because the more traffic you have, the more thousands of people you have looking at your links, the more often you're making $3 on a click. So I realized to myself, you know what, as much as that's something I want to be involved in and have connected in my, added into my videos to show the tech that I use, I'm really not making that much money at it. And so for the hours that it might take me to really build that up and to advance it and get it set up perfectly on my web stuff, for all of those hours, I'm maybe going to make $3. Even if I double it, I'm going to make $6, which means I'm back to making like $3 an hour. So that becomes a distraction, because not only am I using my time, but also I'm using my energy. And we all know that you can only sit so much at a computer for so long before it's like, I need a break. And if we use our energy and focus on stuff that's not paying, or is not going to lead to something that's going to start paying in the near future or even in the long run, then we're going to burn out ourselves and think, okay, I need a break. And then when it comes time to do the work that pays, it's just going to be overwhelming for our minds. We're not going to. All right, so Mary, let me get to your comment. Mary says she uses Thunderbird to manage email in a similar way. All the My Joomla emails just get downloaded into a folder, and you don't really see them, but they are archived on your computer where you can review them later. Oh yeah, good setup. The My Joomla emails that Mary is talking about is in myjoomla.com. You can have emails that come and say, so-and-so just logged into a site. Or one of my clients, I just got an email from a client site yesterday saying a new account was created. And I knew that they weren't working because it was the first day of the year. So I logged on their site and looked, and it was from a Russian bot. So I need to, and I've talked to them about security on their site, or at least, their site is fine because new accounts can't access anything. But I've talked to them about that. But that was an email that I dealt with. So in myjoomla.com, you can have lots of emails from all your websites that tell you about someone logged in, someone added an article, someone created a profile. And if you want to have an archive of those emails, what Mary's doing is created a filter, and they get moved to a folder. So she never sees them, but they're there for her to refer to them. That's also another example of bacon, in the sense that maybe you don't need to know when you yourself have logged into your site. You want to know if someone else logged in. In that information, it says there's been a login from such and such an IP. Well, I don't need to be told when someone logs in from my IP, because that's me doing it. So you can create a filter that says if it contains logged in from IP and then your IP number, just delete it. Then you won't even see it. So that's a great way to archive things into folders there, and using Thunderbird. Thunderbird is the Firefox of email programs, and it's pretty nice to use for a lot of features. That's the email program that I use for downloading emails or even viewing emails in a program if I'm not using Gmail. And especially if I'm working in clients' emails, I will add their email into Thunderbird and see what is going on and make sure everything is working properly. So good tip there, Mary, using Thunderbird. All right, so so just getting back to that last point, ask yourself when you're looking at what you do, is this a profit? Is this part of growing your business and making some income? Now, just because something is not making income does not mean does not mean you shouldn't be doing it. Case in point are my live streams. I don't make a ton of money from my live streams, but they do play a role in how I want to build up my business in targeting and growing opportunities for me. So, for instance, my hope is that as developers learn about the channel and as I build an audience here, they will want me to help them narrate or even make tutorials for their extensions. And then that will become a source of income for me as well through what I do. Now, I am not doing these. I'm not doing these videos cold-heartedly simply to make money, because there's probably other things I could do to make money faster. I really enjoy the videos, and I especially enjoy the live streams and the channel now because I've made some really great friends that I hang out with every week. Some of you are watching now, some of you are watching the replay. I really like the community that's built up, so that's positive as well. That also brings me to the point of not everything that we do has to be to make money. So, if there are some things that you do that give you enjoyment or connection with other people, and that's encouraging, we need that stuff happening in our lives. We thrive on things like that. And so that would be good too. Now, if nobody were watching these videos and I wasn't getting to know anybody and they were just a drag and discouraging, and I looked at it and thought, where is this all leading anyways? And I didn't have a plan in the overall how it fits into my business, I probably might consider stopping doing them. But working on the channel, making the videos, connecting with other people, and certainly I have learned a ton of things from other people on this channel that have really helped me in my business and also in working on Joomla sites. It's something that I don't have to make a lot of money at in order for it to be a positive benefit to my business and to my life. So it really comes down, we have to be discerning in how we evaluate things, and look at the quality, and it just speaks to having a plan. And so having a plan is the best way to really know what distractions to diminish, because then we see how things fit. It's just like having a bookshelf. You can only put so many books on it. And if there's no place for something on a bookshelf, even as in this will work later, or I'll read this later pile, then we can get rid of those. So one of the things to do at the beginning of this year, just take a look at what you're doing and think, hey, what am I getting? Is this leading towards my financial goals, to my well-being, is it something that's part of my long-term vision for where I want my business to go? And if it doesn't fit into those things, it might be something that you want to just cut out, and so that you can use your energy elsewhere. All right, so that tackles that part of what I was that area. And if you catch on to this later, here, let me paste the Zoom link again. If later on you want to come back to this topic or it comes to mind, just put it in chat. Or again, if you're watching the Encore performance on YouTube, then you can look down, you can leave a comment below. All right, man, I am way off center here. I think you've turned that even the wrong way. There we go. There we go. Get a little bit of desk showing in there, this particular scene. Okay, so the next topic, the next area that I think that I want to improve in for my business is lead generation. And by lead generation, I'm talking about finding new work, doing things, looking in places that I suppose could improve my lead generation. But I was really asking myself, are there places I'm overlooking and missing that could drum up some business for myself that fits into what I'm doing? And so one of the things that I realized that I don't do at all, it's not even that I don't do well, is taking advantage of free local ads. All right, let me take a drink here. just keep talking and hold the bottle of water there. Is taking advantage of local ads for my business. So here in Victoria, British Columbia, we have a site called usedvictoria.ca. You probably have used city name something all over the world. There is Kijiji. There are I did go on Yelp, but Yelp's a bit of a trap because they just want to hassle you in order to find to pay advertising. That's Yellow Pages webpage. So you might go on Yelp or other things that are available in your area. And you can put an ad for free on them. You could put an ad for web design. I'm looking, for instance, just behind the camera here right now. I have someone's Apple computer. They have pictures on it that they cannot get off to move to their newer computer. It's an older one. They asked me if I'd do it for them. So it's running away, backing up, and I'm going to copy that. I would like some more business like that. Partly because when I get working on long projects or big projects, it's nice to just take a break and do a half-hour job for $45 and fix someone's computer, get a virus off their computer, or replace a hard drive, or do something. Those break up the day nicely. Plus, if I can get enough business happening like that, I could train someone to come and work on those things and just be a resource, and I could pay them $20 an hour and still charge the normal rate to clients and build my business that way. Putting ads in local places. Now, you do open yourself up to new customers in that sense, but they might not be the type of customers that you want. So, for instance, if I post a free ad for web design and my rate is $90 an hour, probably a lot of people might go and say, "Hey, I don't think that's going. I'm not going to pay $90 an hour. I want someone who will do it for $15 an hour." So then you're not going to get a new job that way. But if you're posting that you do Joomla sites and someone says, "Oh, let's just search to see who works on Joomla sites," and the search result comes up to an ad that's local, then that could be an ideal client. A business whose web designer has moved away or is retired, or someone who's built a Joomla site and they're having problems and they don't want to maintain it anymore, or their business has grown, they're looking for someone. You might just come up in that. Basically, all you need to do is create an account and then create an ad, and then it renews every 30 days, and you can just click and renew it. It's just there just in case, and it may develop a new lead, and it doesn't take a lot of time to set up. You might also, and this is something I do, you might also then make a page on your own website that people can go to from that ad and see the services that you're offering, and you can see what could come from that. So that's something that I realized that I'm really not set up well for. Even after 14 months in business, my personal page is just really not. It's one of those pages like I probably wouldn't hire myself if I was looking for someone to do a web page. It's just not together enough information. Now, part of that is because I have clients that are keeping me busy, and also there's things that I'm doing on spec. So, but also I need to refocus on that and get that in place. Another thing that's sort of along the same line is to create a video that promotes your business and put it on YouTube. And so, for instance, let me just show you, since we haven't looked at the screen for a while, let me just bring up on the screen here. We'll go to Google, and if I search for computer repair and just hit enter, searching for that. Now you'll see that right now I come up number one searching for computer repair, probably because I visited my site before, but I have placed myself on the map on Google Maps and set up my business. And so here, and I've had 2 people fill out reviews of me on Gmail, and so I do show up at the top there. So that's kind of cool. But if I go to videos, here's a video here. Actually, this company is, I don't know. Oh, this computer here, this video, computer repair in Victoria, BC. they're showing that they do repairs here in my town. But you know what? I watched that video. They don't even have a way to contact them from it. I think they toss it up just as something to play on their website, but there's no way to contact it. If I make a YouTube video just introducing myself and saying that I do computer repair in Victoria, British Columbia, and also in the West Shore, which makes up Colwood and Langford and Metchosin and Highlands and Souk, if I use those tag words, my video could pop up here. And if someone's searching for computer repair simply, and this is a local thing, you'll see up here, it says right here, volume 201,000 a month. That's people searching. I'm not sure where exactly all that factors in, but that could lead me to some new business for my company. The reason that I thought of this one was we were talking in a live stream last week or 2 weeks ago about how there's no Joomla user groups in Canada. So I thought, well, I should see if there's any Joomla users locally in Victoria. So what I did was I typed Victoria, BC, Joomla users. And let me spell Victoria properly. And so again, here's Geeks on the Beach. They mention how they do websites with Joomla. Here's Joomla Web Design Vancouver. That's not even in my city or my island. That is over on the mainland, which is like a 45-minute drive to the ferry. I take an hour and a half ferry across to the mainland. And then here it says how to clean a hacked Joomla site. This is all that comes up for videos when I search for Victoria, BC Joomla users. So I did view pages that were just all, and here's some other web companies that do that, and they're here on the island. So I may be going to contact them about starting a Joomla user group. But it made me realize that as far as local things go, as far as local links go, I could have a video here about doing Joomla here in Victoria, BC, and would rank very quickly towards the top because really nobody's doing that. So that's a potential lead for me. Is someone who wants a web page or doesn't know what they want in a web page going to search for Joomla user in Victoria or Joomla websites in Victoria, BC? Probably not. But someone who is looking for help with their Joomla website or looking for a developer and knows what they're looking for, this is an opportunity just waiting for me to put a video or an ad on there. Also, I will point out too that let me just go back to Victoria computer repair. Now I will not show up on this because I'm not when in all the search here, because I have to do some configuration so that my business comes up also for the city of Victoria. But if a city that I am in, I live in Colwood. When I look, check this out. I won't show you all now, but some of these main sites that come up, this one here, Gizmos. I don't know about vitech.ca. Actually, I think I've worked with that. I've had contact with that person. I checked out some of these sites and they're terrible. They're not mobile friendly. They're like old school. And I realized that maybe that's because they're so busy repairing computers that their forte is not designing web pages. But I have a real chance that if I tweak my site and get myself up on these and some pages and get myself up, do better SEO for local stuff, I could pick up some jobs. And so as I head into this new year of 2019, I say to myself and look at these things, I think, okay, lead generation. I need to do a little bit more local stuff that could generate some leads. Are they all going to be people? Are they all going to be people that want to do business with me at my rates? No, but it might lead to some work, or it might lead to enough work that's present for me again to hire someone in order to handle that work and grow things from there. Because if I can hire someone to do some of that work, some of their time can be used also for working on my projects or the things that are not necessarily distractions, but are necessary evils that I need to do, like making thumbnails for videos or sending out information about who has won prizes in the giveaway. get them to handle that, that frees me up and is going to help my business to grow. So lead generation, and I think this is something that we're all often looking at, is how can we get more leads for our business. I belong to the local chamber of commerce. I've really not gotten much business from that, but I do enjoy getting out of my basement and meeting with people. I've learned a lot from the connections. I've watched, see how some people are doing business, and I've picked up tips. I've made friends, and actually last month I did go to a meeting and talked about what I did just when we went around the circle like everyone does. And a real estate agency asked me to come and help them with a live streaming problem. They were so happy. They said they're going to promote me to their other real estate agents. So that was a lead generation that was a long time in coming. Mary says that she partnered with a guy in Texas who repairs computers and pays you to do sites for his clients. It's not going as well as you'd like to do, him being unorganized, but you're thinking there could be similar partnerships. Hey, that's a really good tip, Mary. So what I could do is, based on that, I just want to check what happening on the screen here. And hey, everyone, I know that you can't read that chat there, but it's just the way that Twitch streams chat to that. I probably should just go to full screen here. Full screen. There we go. Yeah, that's a good point, Mary. I could go to those computer repair places and say, hey, I noticed that your web page is not mobile friendly. I don't know if you want me to do that work for you, but also I don't know if you have clients that come in and are looking for web pages. I would be happy to partner with you and work out some arrangements. So that would be could be a good relationship. I do know that one of these companies is my friends in Victoria, Face-to-Face Computers, and he does refer clients to me. And certainly for people that are in town, and his way, I would totally tell them to go there. In fact, I would send people buying computers to his business as well, because that's just a great to have someone local that builds computers. But Mary, that's a great tip, and I will consider that too, because at least two of the places are local that I could pop in and see if they have someone that they refer to for websites. Excellent. So that could bring some new leads. And in fact, if like Mary mentioned that it's not going as well as she would like it to, but another relationship might work out better. If it starts to work out really well, then instead of becoming distracted by taking in too many computers, I might be able to work out a deal to send people to them in exchange for promotion. So, and of course, in setting up those things, it is give and take. And again, it comes down to balancing. Because, as I've said, I'd like to get a little bit more work removing viruses and things like that for a break. But certainly things could change down the road where that's a bit of a distraction, because now I'm focusing on other things, and I don't want to train someone to do repairs because it's taking up too much of their time. So that's one of the things about business. We need to be fluid in the sense that changing with things as they come along and adapting, because things can change, and we would maybe something might totally drop off. I know, for instance, my biggest client, Firewise Consulting, I do course narration, and I'm doing promotional videos, and I recorded a conference that they did. And that's totally outside of my original contact with them, which was basically web design, originally helping them get some PowerPoints viewable on a web page if people logged on and bought a membership. But that's morphed into something else, and it continues to morph into things with that. So you never know with how things are changing, or what comes along in relationships or leads that you have that might open up opportunities for you to be productive or successful in things that you never imagined. And I think that is very, very, very true in technology and digital things like we're doing, because It used to be, you remember the days where if you had a web page, you were miles ahead of other businesses. Now it's a lot of work to set up SEO and to be doing social media, and that creates new job opportunities, new income streams. But as you know, for instance, if you're making great income making Vine videos, Vine suddenly closed up, you've lost your income there. If something happens that if something that we're really good at today and make a good chunk of a good percentage of our income on, if it goes the way of the dodo, we need to be ready to move into some other things. So, especially in tech, with tech changing so much, it used to be if you had a factory job, sure, things would change, but it would change slowly over time. The time change in tech is so quick, you can very quickly end up being skilled at something that's not really super needed anymore. All right, so those were two things for lead generation. Two things that I noticed: improve video pages. Create and improve pages for local SEO, so making videos and pages, and also I mentioned earlier that one of my goals for the for my YouTube channel is to attract extension developers who want me to do their tutorials. I really don't have that set up to send them anywhere for that. So I really need to create and improve the pages just so that when they see that, or I can promote myself to them, say, hey, would you be interested in hiring me to do videos or doing narration for your videos for your extensions? I need to have something that I can send them to and generate a lead more from that. All right, the next area that I decided that I've been thinking about is I need to increase my block scheduling. And by block scheduling, I'm referring to setting aside blocks of time in order to get certain work done. So if you remember a long time ago, half a year ago or more, I used to do my Maintenance Monday live stream sometime between it's actually more 4:30 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon here on the left coast of Canada. And it was because I would get up on Monday morning, I think, what's my topic going to be? I'd do a thumbnail, I would do all the stuff I need to do, set up the live stream, get ready, and then I would go live, and then other stuff would come up, and then by the time that it came about, it would be, like I said, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30 in the afternoon. It was erratic. I know that one of the keys to building up a YouTube channel or a channel of anything is to have a schedule. But I'll tell you what, if cats are organized and dogs are not and don't like organization, I'm a dog. So I just don't like the whole tight schedule of things. And I'm not someone to get up early in the morning and be all frisky and awake and do stuff. But I realized along the way that if I was to add some consistency, I was going to have to just set a time for the live streams and schedule them. And now it works great for me. I still end up a couple minutes after 11, which is unfortunate. It's partly from being a morning person and just partly from that's a discipline I need to build up in my life. But having a schedule blocked for those things lets me get them done at a higher degree and quality and have some planning. So I need to do better block scheduling. And so one of the ideas that I have set up here is, well, first of all, you know that Watch Me Work live streams have now moved to Wednesday from Tuesday. And that's because having time blocked out for the Monday live stream and then the Tuesday live stream, I just took, it was so much that I was working on Monday and Tuesday. If things came up or I needed to be working on other things, it was, I ended up having to put them off until Wednesday, a lot of things that I should have been doing maybe Monday or at least by Tuesday. So seeing that worked well, and in talking with, again, Peter Van Westen, because I don't talk much about it, but I'm doing videos for Peter to show people how to use regular lab extensions. And so we have that arrangement and that business relationship as well. And but I'm often very slow getting them done because I get working on them at times when I have free time to do them. And they really that is something that I really need to give more attention to. So I decided that I'm just going to make Tuesdays a day when I work on those videos for regular labs. Now, not the whole day, but set aside a block so I can get working on them. And I've made a schedule so that there is a place for those. The other thing that I'm going to do on Tuesdays is I'm going to make it a day for scheduled meetings. What I found was that people are saying, hey, would you like to, I want to meet with people and say, can I touch base with you about something? I think, yeah, what's a good time this day, that time? And, juggling or finding a time or in my schedule, trying to remember what it was taking a lot of mental energy. So what now I can say to them is, yes, I would love to meet with you. I schedule meetings on Tuesdays. When is a good time for you some Tuesday? When would you like to do that? Now, if they say, oh, I can't wait till Tuesday, I need something sooner, then I can find something different. But they may very well say, oh, okay, yeah, Tuesday next week will work out well in the afternoon. I'll set a time with them. And I freed my mind from having to quickly go through my schedule on the spot to plan a time. Or I've also freed I'm missing out on less opportunities by thinking I will get back to you once I look at my schedule, because then I have to remember, I have to contact that person, I have to get back to them, and then it all becomes a muddle and a jumble in my head. So not only am I going to set Tuesdays aside for working on regular lab videos, also I'm going to schedule meetings for Tuesday, make that a meeting day, but I'm also going to put something up on my website that offers the chance for people to pick schedule. So let me just show you what I'm going to use. Now, if you know of something that's different, you could tell me. But it's a Joom donation. So you go to joomdonation.com. They've got a bunch of extensions, and the one that I'm looking at is their OS services booking. And let's just, did I click on that? All right, and it's $39.99. But they have a demo, and basically they sort of have a setup here for consulting. And here we go, business consulting. And what you can do is you can have your calendar right on your website. And if people want to book a time, they can go and they can book a time. And also you can set a price for that time as well. And I think this is going to help me in a couple of ways. Because I'm happy to meet for a half an hour with someone and do free half-hour consulting or talk with them initially as a client. I don't want to do that with every single project. Like if someone has 5 projects, it's like I'm not going to spend 2.5 hours giving them free advice or consulting for each project. But on initial contact, just to sort of see, it's sort of like a first date. Just to see where they're coming from, give them, just to develop a relationship. I'd love to meet with them for half an hour for free. But beyond that, this is a great way to communicate to people that, hey, you know what? Part of the way that I make my living is consulting. And so instead of saying, oh, I'll meet with you, but you have to pay me, you can just say, hey, I would love to meet with you about that. I'll tell you what, my schedule is on the website. Go ahead and book half an hour that works for you, and we'll touch base about that. They can go here and they can say, I have to book this, I have to pay. Oh, no, I'm not going to pay. I just want to talk to them for free. I'll talk to someone else. You have saved your time, half an hour right there. And you've also sort of weeded out a client that perhaps is not the kind that you're looking for, because there's plenty of people who will let you work for free for them, and they have a bottomless pit of working for free. Mary says she has a client that uses that and has been happy. Okay, great. Thanks, Mary. That's I thought it looked like of what was there. It looked like what would work the best. Anyway, so I'm going to set this up so that my schedule is here, and I can book meetings on Tuesdays. And the great thing about this block organizing is I might say, hey, you know what? I'm also available. I'm also around Friday morning and over lunch frequently, but then I have a thing at 1:30. So I'm going to make that block available. And it's just just some organization that I think will free up time, not only from people who don't understand how consulting works, but also just to free up time. I no longer have to do that scheduling on the fly. I can say to people, I could even open up my web page on my phone and say, hey, let's book a time right now. Look, this is free. Do you want me to put you in? Great, you're in, and a great organization there. So that's something that I'm going to set up very early here in 2019. More block scheduling. I think probably this is going to, this just seems like, it's not rocket science, I realize. But for some people, that's just the way that you live. You're geared to looking at blocks or having your time organized, or you'd like to have things set in a schedule. Not me. That is not me. I like to have things kind of loose. I don't really like structure, but certainly since I've been doing Joomla and for full time and now I'm self-employed, I need to incorporate those things in my life, and so this is how I'm slowly being molded by what is required. Of course, if someone came along and dropped $1 million on my lap, I would go back to being a lot less disorganized, and a bunch of stuff I'd stop doing. I would still do the live streams because I really enjoy them and they're fun. But I would not continue. Which is probably why I don't have $1 million, because people that would do nothing if they had $1 million dropped on their lap or do less tend to not be living in a way that attracts $1 million. So anyways, all right, so increased block scheduling. All right, now I have two more topics here. The next thing that I want to do in order to, and I've already started to do it, and I'm going to continue to do it in 2019, is put together what I'm going to call a flight manual of of the things that I do. And by flight manual, I mean this. In airplanes, there's probably a better word than flight manual. Someone, if it comes to you, just type it in chat here. In planes, if an emergency breaks out, you take out the flight manual, and it gives you steps to go through. You don't have to think, oh, what should I do? What's this problem? If you have a problem or there's a task you need to do, you go down. All right. So engine's on fire. All right. Use this switch. Change this setting. Make sure that you're turning off the proper engine. Anyways, all the different steps that they have. Or prepare for takeoff. Okay, you've got the flaps. We've got this. Fuel. You have a list of everything. Some of the things that I do regularly, I could just make a list. So for instance, to use an example, when I'm doing a maintenance money live stream, I need a topic. Once I have a topic, I need to make a thumbnail. And the steps in making a thumbnail, if there's something fiddly that I need to do each time, then I try to remember what it is. But if I start making a list, a flight manual of the different things that I do, not a to-do list like, oh, I do this, oh, great, I'm done. But, oh, here's the project I'm working. I did that, oh, I forgot to do that. So, for instance, one thing that happened today for this live stream is I did not put it out on Twitter or social media, or other social media like Facebook or LinkedIn, sharing, hey, I'm about to go live. Let's talk about 2019 business plans. I just totally forgot to do that. I could have done that in probably 5 minutes last night. I could have taken the thumbnail, I could have typed it up, I could have put it in Hootsuite and scheduled that to go out at 3 o'clock in the morning my time, which is I think 9, it would be 10 o'clock UTC, and maybe some more people would be able to watch this live. So I need to have, if I had a list, then I'm freed of the mental energy of having to remember every step. And also, I can just work my way through things, and that is the recipe for how I'm going to move forward and get the most out of what I'm doing. maybe setting up a Joomla site for a client. Although, Vinny is doing something that I've done in the past. He has a Joomla site that's set up that is a basic, in fact, I call it a basic Joomla install. In fact, let me just post the Zoom call there again. I call it a basic Joomla install, and that's exactly where basicjoomla.com came from. Before I had learned about subdirectories, I thought I need to have I want to have a Joomla site that's just basic and I can make a copy of it to start out with for new clients. So I thought, I'll register a domain at basicjoomla.com. That's what I registered. And I put it on my server and I set it up. And eventually, that's how I ended up using basicjoomla.com for a place to highlight my videos and to run the contest on. And so basicjoomla.com came about that way. So Vinny has a basic Joomla site installed somewhere so he can use that when he starts building a site for a new client. Now, maybe you want to do that. Maybe even once you've installed and updated, or once you've updated and installed a copy of your basic Joomla site, there's still some steps to do. So why not make a flight manual or a checklist to go down to make sure that you've done everything properly. So for instance, the first step would be, remove the My Joomla plugin that does the updates and add it to your My Joomla account so that you can be checking for updates on that. Customize the title, customize the email contact that goes in the configuration.php. All of those things, basically you having that list, then it frees your mind up thinking like that moment where your mind tightens up and says, what am I supposed to do here? Oh, wait a second. No, I don't need to worry about that because here's the list. I'll bring it up. I'll go through. Oh, that's right. I do that, did that. And it's just freeing up, again, mind. That's a big thing for me, and you'll see that when I get to the last point. My mind gets so distracted and seized and grabbed by things, and it just is such a drain of energy. So I want to continue to make some checklists for what I do. Another thing is the editing is like, so for instance, Watch Me Work live streams that we're looking at right now. Once I finish this, once the stream is over, then I download it from Twitch, and then I say to myself, I'll come back later on and I will edit that to get ready to upload it to YouTube. And there's some things that maybe I accidentally showed something on my screen I don't want to be on, or I got lost in the weeds and there's something that just wasn't working well, and I want to cut that part out. And I say to myself, I'll remember that later on. And then other things come into place, into play or happen. And then the next thing I know is like, oh man, I still have to edit that video from last week's Watch Me Work live stream. And then, I'll do that later. I got to remember what it was. So one of the flight lists for me for this, one of the items on my flight list for Watch Me Work live streams is that I have decided that because I've blocked this time now, when this stream is over, I will download the video and I will edit it quickly and cut out the little bits at the beginning I need to get it ready for the YouTube upload, get it all set, and then I can upload, I can produce it with the edits. I can upload it to YouTube. I can set it to not show up until, let's see, this is Wednesday, not until Friday, because there has to be 24 hours before you can upload content from Twitch to YouTube under the terms of agreement use. And then it's all lined up. I can even line up in Hootsuite my social media to say that it's out, set it for the same time, and it's done. And my mind is freed up, because that's all work that I have to do at some point if I'm going to get that, the editing, the uploading, the social media. But instead, by having a list, this bang, 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 it's done, and I'm no longer occupying the RAM in my head to do that. Mary says that she uses TreePad Business for organization. You can kind of sort of just put stuff there and then search. You keep the file on Dropbox, so it's available to you if you ever go anywhere. I don't, but it is there. And she has the link TreePad. Let's check that out. Let's move over to the screen here. No, it's on that screen. Okay, TreePad. TreePad Business Edition is a multi-featured personal information manager database and word processor. It comes with all features of TreePad Plus, high security, ton of additional functionality. TreePad Business Edition stores all your notes, letters, emails, texts, hyperlinks, etc. Okay, it keeps them accessible and organized. So that's what you keep your lists on. Cool. I have some of my lists on WordPad. Notepad, which is not Notepad, OneNote, which is Microsoft Office's Note. So I have some of my lists there, and that is available through the app on my phone. But if you're not using that, TreePad and saving things on your in Dropbox so that you have those things handy. Excellent. This is interesting. You know, I look at this website and I'm going to guess it's not mobile friendly. It's got that old 90s or 2000 view here. Let me just a sec here. Let's close some things that are going to pop in the background. Let's just do here. We go F12 and look at that, Control-0 to make that normal size. And yep, there you go. You guys know how you always do that too. Check things out. All right, so TreePad, check that out too. That's what Mary uses. Yeah, it is very old. Cool. Download the TreePad Business Edition. 21 days. Buy. $44.95 US. Mary says you're not as organized as you would like, but you remember keywords and the search is your savior. Yes. Yeah, you can dump a lot of stuff into any one of these programs or lists, and have information and just search for. So, for instance, if you remember that a client is in, like say it's a place that's near here, Shawnigan Lake, and I have 1,000 notes, and in there I've put some information about their domain or the work that I've done on them. You search for Shawnigan, and it brings it up. You go right to it. Something unique. Now, if you search for as you all know, that doesn't work. But yeah, the keywords is a great way. All right. So yeah. A flight manual, having some steps, being more organized. Yeah, and Mary, when I read your note there saying that you're not as organized as you would like to be, I know very few people that are as organized as they would like to be. I know some people that are, and kudos to them. That's great that they have achieved something that many of us would aspire for. There's minimalism. If you see if you check, just Google that on YouTube and go on YouTube. And look for minimalism. People who have really gotten it down to organize and getting rid of things. One of the things that I had to do, when I registered my business with the city to begin this year, I got a call from the fire department saying this just customary. They need to come by and do a fire inspection, and they realize that even though I'm a home business just doing tech like this, but they still have to do it. So I thought, okay. Now, the shop where I want to do computer repair or do some work is underneath my back deck, and it is a mess. And I thought, well, this is great motivation. I'm going to have to tidy that up before the fire department gets here. Also, we talked on, I think, Maintenance Monday in the chat afterwards. I was talking about making my own cables so that they're shorter, so I don't have a mess of spooled, rolled up cables in the corner that I showed on the Boxing Day tour of the studio, just so it doesn't look like such a nasty mess of tangle. So again, that's organization I would like to have. Mary, your note says you like the tree structure as well. Okay, you like the tree structure of that TreePad edition. All right. Download. Oh, they've got a bunch of different users there too. So there's the single user. It looks like you can try it for the freeware, TreePad Lite. Cool. I mean, I think that that's so key because, again, when we say that we're not as organized as we would like, I think sometimes we could be more organized, but we're trying to be organized like other people. We think, hey, so and so is organized. They have lists. I'll have lists, and I'll be organized, and it just doesn't work. Someone has Post-it notes, and that works great for them. But we think like, I can't with Post-it notes. And yet then you might have something set up like EntryPad, like you're using, Mary, that's like, yeah, this works. Oh, this I get. This works for me. Someone else might say, I don't get it, or that's not going to work for me. Then, trying to organize ourselves by pushing ourselves in the mold of something that helps someone else that works for them might end up to more frustration. I think though the general agreement that we can have though is that clutter and disorganization saps energy and drains stuff from us. I know it does for me. My son was here for New Year's Eve, my son and his wife and two of our grandkids, and he wanted to work out some stuff with the backups on his laptop, and he had a Quicken file that would not open. So that gave me motivation to tidy up the bit of stuff that I did have on the desk, because I tried to have the desk clean every night, trying to have a clear desk policy for myself. It helped me clean up everything. And so what I did was I tossed a few things back into the box underneath my desk, thinking like, okay, I will get to those. I'm working on emptying that box, and it is going really well. I don't want to keep put things into it, but it sort of just conquers the clutter, and I can take something out and work on it. And the truth is, once I empty that box, I have another box out in my shop that I can start working on. So, for us to get organized, we need to find something that is working for us, that will work for us, and it may be unique. I'll tell you another thing that I have tried. I just want to double check what I've got happening. I did not show this on the tour last week, but I have in this jar some glass beads. You can see them. They look like they're just those glass beads. You buy them to put them in the bottom of planters or for flowers or whatever. Now the origin of these beads is that back when we got ourselves into a tight spot, mostly me, into a tight spot with consumer debt. We didn't have a lot of credit card debt, but we did have a line of credit and overdraft and a loan from my brother-in-law. And when we decided that we were going to get out of debt, and that was from watching Till Debt Do Us Part on television. You can find it on the webpage. Gail Vaz Oxlade, Till Debt Do Us Part. What we did was we got a jar, we got these beads, and each one of these, and there's more beads than fits in this, by the way, at that time. Each one of these represented $100 of our consumer debt. And as we paid that down, we would take a rock or a bead, we call them a rock, take a bead out of the jar and then slowly work down, and we celebrated that going down, and eventually burned a candle at both ends, and we got rid of our consumer debt. So fast forward to me starting to me being self-employed. In this jar, we don't count this marble, but in this jar there's one glass bead for every paid hour that I need to do each month to reach my income goal. And so basically what I envisioned doing was, if I've worked an hour, I would take the bead and I would put it inside the mug, my Joomla mug there. I haven't drank water for a while. And so as this went down, it would encourage me that I was making progress, or it would remind me, hey, I've got to get more work done and start focusing on some different things. Now, this could work, but it hasn't quite worked perfectly for me. So it hasn't worked as well as it did for getting rid of consumer debt. So I don't know if I'll still pursue it, but it is something that I have here just as kind of a reminder to encourage me to do that. But I don't know if that's going to work. Anyway, so some things that might work for one thing are not going to work for another. Where'd that go? All right, put that back in there. And that's, I guess, speaks to what really comes to my last point here, for me anyways, is to improve my business and my success in 2019, I need to get over myself more. And by that, here is what I mean. As I alluded to before, I live a lot in my head, and I let a lot of little things distract me, but also I let a lot of things kind of bug me or get at me. So here is an example. So last, as you know, this camera keeps focusing in and out, doesn't it? Let me go here to the Logitech camera, and I don't think that's what I want. I go here, and let's go to this software here. There we go. I'm going to click on that, and I go to Advanced. I stand where I want to be, and we'll turn off the autofocus. Sorry for that going in and out of focus all the time for much of this stream. All right, so getting over myself. So on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, did the live stream here in the studio and gave the behind the scenes look. And then I caught up on my Twitch recording, so I got them all loaded up to the YouTube channel. I uploaded that. I had planned to release the tour on December 31st, Christmas Eve, just as a video, again, just like Boxing Day, just a relaxed day. But when I sent out my newsletter to an entirely different demographic group, I have 14,000 subscribers to it, I thought they might be interested, because it's not based on Joomla or anything like that. People might be interested in seeing my office, and I thought that's going to increase watch time for the channel that day. So because that video was unpublished, I could still share the link, but then I thought that'll still count as watch time, and then I'll make it go live for everyone to see on Boxing Day. No, sorry, on New Year's Eve. So I went to church Sunday morning, came back, and I thought, let's see how much watch time this counts as. And I discovered, watch time does not count if the video is not published. People are watching it, but it doesn't count. And I want to have watch time up at 4,000, I think it's 4,000 hours and 365 days in order to, or maybe it's 4,400 hours, in order to turn on monetization so people can give super chats make donations through the stream when it's going. Anyway, so I realized all of the best traffic for me promoting in my list did not count for the watch time. And then I started to go into a dark spot. Not super dark, but I was like, I missed that. It could have been this. This could have worked. Now what else can I do? Why am I do that? Why don't I think these things? And then I realized, whoa. All right, so this is a missed opportunity. Probably not a lot was going to come from it anyways, because those people are not Joomla people, so they're not going to watch a lot of other videos. And I realized if I start stewing and letting this get me down, it just becomes a major distraction, and that's going to just discourage me, and I'm just going to think, I don't want to work right now. I'm just so bummed out about that. And that happens frequently for me in things, I realize. And so that's something that's holding me back from being more successful, or at least enjoying my business and enjoying my life to a greater degree, by letting little things bug me like that and just not seeing that or just ruminating on them too much. So for instance, an example, just to go back to the Amazon affiliate program, it bugs me that I would get an email saying, if you don't have 3 sales in 90 days, we're going to kick you out. You have 30 days to make 3 sales. And it's like, I don't want to get kicked out. I put so much time into it, and this could work. And what if it ever took off? And then I could make and there goes my mind again. And so now I'm chasing something super crazy that really is not going to make me a lot of money immediately, maybe not even in the long term, something I could return to when things are built up to that point. I'll give you one more example. On Maintenance Monday live stream 2 days ago, the last one of when in the chat time afterwards, I was talking about how I might get some lenses for my computer so I can do macro photos. I can take close-up things. I would like to do that. And I commented how everyone posts big pictures on Instagram, but I would like to post small pictures. And then Vinny said, oh, I know exactly what your Instagram account would be called. It would be Tiny Tim's Tiny World. And I thought, that's a great name. That would be fun. And I thought, hey, I could open that account and I could start taking small pictures. And if I post it regularly, people might like them. And then they would join and I could talk. And then and I realized, oh my goodness, Tim, get over yourself. As much as that would be a fun project to do, I already have fun projects. And what project am I going to drop in order to try that? But basically, though, my mind starts to run away with, that could work and that could take off. And to quote a friend I was talking to the other day, they said they wish that just one of the things they tried would take off. And I live there. I would love to have one of those successes on the internet where things just took off. I know I said I would give that last example, but let me just show you one more example. I have told you all about this project, Closed Caption Cleaner. I thought this was going to revolutionize the way people are uploading their closed captions to their YouTube videos. And so what I did was I spent a lot of time last January and February working on this. Time that I was not getting paid for, but I was so sure that this is going to work. I actually said to my wife, I'm so positive that this is going to work that if it doesn't work, I will doubt myself forever. It's not that I doubt myself in everything, but when it didn't work, I realized, okay, I can't chase this stuff anymore. So getting over myself happens often, has been happening for a long time. Anyways, as soon as I got this all launched and it was working great, one of the people I asked to beta test it said, "Oh, this is just like so and so's tool," and it just didn't work. So I was presented with well, I've got so much time invested in this and so many dreams. How can I tweak it? I contacted the person that had the tool that was just like mine. And there's a potential to work together, but he was he didn't want to make any money. He just wanted to do it for free. And I know that type, and I've tried that. And so I realized, no, there's no money to be made here. I've got to make a living. And so I just let it sit there. This domain is going to expire very soon. And the last thing that I'm going to do with this site is make a tutorial on how to remove a Joomla site off of a server, because I'm getting over myself. I had to get over myself in this project and just let it go and move on and do something else. It's just time lost. Did I learn some great stuff that I applied to other sites? Yes, so it wasn't time lost in that sense. But it just speaks to getting over myself. We all have those things that we have to just get over. It's just not worth the energy or the drain or the distraction that it causes us with with constantly bearing them in our mind. And so the next big idea that comes along, or something fun, or this could take off, or oh, I missed that opportunity. Why was it? How can I do it? I guess, and as much as I think I'm someone that lives in the now, with respect to my business, there's a reality, a different kind of now I need to live in. Not the dream moment of the now or the frustration of the now, but the big picture moving forward. Because and it is a bit mysterious to me. When I watch things like Shark Tank or Dragon's Den as equivalent show in Canada, or when I'm meeting with successful people, or I see what people are doing in the Chamber of Commerce, other members with their companies, and how they're approaching not only the same field as me, but in different things. They're succeeding and thriving in a way not only because they have a business education, and I don't have any business education. Well, it's School of Hard Knocks and watching other people succeed or fail as well. But there's something about them that allows them to not get distracted or waylaid by some of the things that happen, some of the things that I get distracted by. And so in 2019, I want to get over myself in new ways so that I can become myself in new ways as well. Or maybe like cutting down some weeds, let some light get down to the soil so that some new things can grow that are being stifled just because of the way that I look at some things. And I don't know what that is for those of you that are watching this, but I know that our human nature often is to blame other people or to blame other things, and certainly other people and other things are to be blamed for things that happen in this world often. But if I just find that the less self-aware I am, I really miss the big factors, because I can't change other people. And I can't change other circumstances. I can try to influence other people, and I can influence circumstances, but there's so much that we can't do. But what is really in our wheelhouse that is most available to us is within ourselves, and within our own proximity that we can work on. Now, look, I am, just saying that, look, I am not a fix yourself, you can do all things are possible inside of yourself. If you just dream it, if you visualize it, it'll happen. That's bullcrap. But certainly, if we focus on things and move towards the direction, things will happen. A cartoon that I just shared on Facebook, someone was saying, it was about the new year. Someone said, what are you expecting in 2019? They said, I'm expecting flowers in 2019. They said, well, how can you be sure? And the person said, because I'm planting flowers now. So we do have an impact on what happens in our lives by planning for it, participating. Sure, things can come along and create problems for us or hamstring us, or stuff happens that's beyond our control. But there are things within our control that we can try to put in place to make things happen. Many of you know that I'm not a humanist. I'm a follower of Jesus. And so I don't want to say, I'm not one of those people that says you can do all things, that you are the only person that you need. You can help yourself. I am who I am today. If there's anything good in me, and that's growing as good, it is because of God's grace and goodness and His mercy in what He has done for me and is doing in my life through Jesus. So, but as He, I don't, that for me, that's not an excuse to not try or to not do anything. That is a realization that I can become the best me, the me that God has made me to be, by being healthy and moving forward and embracing all that opportunity and blessing that He has for me. So I certainly would not say going into 2019, hey, John, I certainly would not say going into 2019 that you can have a better year if you just try harder and depend on yourself and rely on yourself and just, it's not you. But being self-aware of ourselves and where we need help, how we are, the broken parts that we need to overcome, the strengths that we can give thanks for and head into. Lewis Renwick, thank you for following. Being self-aware of how we are not the be-all and end-all, and that we are actually what we contribute to our success, but also to our failures, and realizing that we need something greater and someone else outside of ourselves, that's a huge step forward as well. Anyways, yeah, so we have a new follower there, and John just tuned in. He says, sorry for being late. No problem, John. We're actually just reaching the end of the stream, but I am going to recap at this point. Now, some of you are watching are probably maybe about to turn things off, so if you've watched to this part, please do follow on Twitch or subscribe here on YouTube. And thank you for a great 2018, and thanks for being part of participating in this whole consideration of how we can improve our business going to 2019. I'm going to review now for people that have just come on, but for those who are leaving, enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless.